because I work in a university. I have a lot of sort of colleagues who are scientists, and the leading medical journals of the world at the moment, such as Nature, New England Journal of Medicine, and others, they're showing that the vaccinated people can transmit the virus, as can unvaccinated people. So on that basis, it makes absolutely no sense to have these so-called COVID passports. I think it's extraordinarily dangerous to have a precedent whereby people's rights are then, by executive mandate, not by the will of the people, but by executive mandate, are turned into social privileges. I think that's an extremely slippery slope, and I think it's something that has to be challenged in every single way, economically and legally. My personal opinion is that I think that vaccines are relatively safe. I also think they're relatively effective. But we've also seen that the efficiency of the vaccines drops markedly over months. This is again there in the peer-reviewed scientific literature. But it's extremely disconcerting that irrespective of people's medical histories, that they're being forced effectively to take this from their employers, and peer pressure, and the knowledge that they cannot participate as full citizens in society. I think, as I say, that's a very dangerous precedent. There's been no democratic discussion about this. We've seen dissenting scientists being marginalized. We've seen doctors and nurses that voice their concerns being dismissed. I think this is extremely troubling, the way that science is being overridden here. Well, I think first of all that people's human rights cannot be compromised. Once you start turning rights into privileges, it's a very dangerous slope. I'd also say that here in British Columbia, we have a number of leading medical experts, including at the University of British Columbia, that strongly oppose these measures by Dr. Henry. They're extremely critical, but it's very difficult now to speak out without fear of what I would call reprisals. People are concerned for their livelihoods, they're concerned about keeping a job, and that's why people are worried in this society. But I think most generally here we have people very concerned about the erosion of their democratic rights, the erosion of freedom of speech in this country. It's very difficult when you're an ordinary citizen to get access to some of the scientific literature sometimes, and so they're heavily reliant on what the broadcast media says. And when that's tightly controlled, when opposing narratives are being censored, people can be led into things that are very, very injurious to society over the long run, creating these divisions that are not based on anything that's true, but are based on misunderstandings and fear.